Good morning. I had this verse as part of my devotion yesterday. I didn't get to actually look at the verse itself. I didn't have a lot of time for devotions yesterday, but I made sure that I listened to, I think it was either my Abide app. I think it was Abide, because it wasn't the Daily Bread. So yeah, it was Abide yesterday. Because I needed calm, because I was anxious. Yes, so that's what it was. So John 21, 19 through 25, sitting down and really reading this morning. Yeah, 19 through 25. Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Then he said to him, "Follow me." So Jesus is telling Peter, Jesus is telling Peter the type of death that he will have, which is interesting because not a lot of people know what kind of way they're going to die. So Jesus said, "Follow me." And then Peter turned around and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved was following them. This was the one who leaned back against Jesus at the supper and had said, "Lord, who's going to betray you?" When Peter saw him, he asked, "Lord, what about him?" Jesus answered, "If I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You must follow me." Okay. Because of this, the rumor spread among the brothers that the disciple would not die. But Jesus did not say that he would not die. He only said, "If I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you?" This is the disciple who testifies to these things and who wrote them down. We know that his testimony is true. This is John. Jesus did many other things as well. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that even the whole world would not have room for the books that would be written. Also, another good point. The Bible doesn't have everything written down that Jesus ever did in his life. The Bible isn't meant for that. The Word of God is about showing what Jesus did for you, what is relevant for you to know. And there are going to be parts that aren't included because that's not the point. You don't need to know the entire story of the entire world and everything Jesus did in his entire life. So, there are going to be things that you're going to question, because it's not supposed to tell you all of this stuff. Now, one other thing that I found interesting about this reading: when God calls one person to do something, it shouldn't be any concern. When God calls someone to do something, it shouldn't be any concern of other people, what he has for that person. Sometimes we find ourselves with our noses in other people's business, wanting to know, oh, what are you up to? What does God have called for you? Blah, blah, blah. Each of us is called to a separate and specific journey. It's not our business what the other person is supposed to be doing. We are called to our purpose, and they are called to their purpose. So, therefore, what God has them doing in their life will not look the same as what God has us doing in our life. So, as believers, we're not supposed to be spouting off about what has God got going on for you, because for one, we don't know God's plans. We're not supposed to know God's plans. We are not supposed to be able to understand what our journey is supposed to be and what God is doing. So therefore, when we think in our minds that, hey, I know what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life, I know what my purpose is, I know this stuff, it's like, Do you really? Or do you think you know because you want to know, so therefore you've conned yourself into thinking, I know what God is doing. You don't know what God is doing. So therefore, just stick to the plan, stick to God's next step for you. Don't worry about what he's got going on for other people. And stop trying to understand him, because you can't.